Well, it's always nice to win the first game because you're not sure you're going to win a game all year. So when you get the first one, you can't ever say, well, we're not going to go over. You laugh, but I've always felt that way. Never till you get your first win. That did happen with the Warriors. We went a while, and I thought, oh, Lord. But this is this, and that was that. So there were some bright spots, I thought. You know, the thing about Bakersfield was that they are all seniors. They did have a winning season in Division I last year and went on a summer tour. So I felt like they would not be intimidated, that they could potentially be physical and would play pretty hard. I thought first half we were really pretty efficient. Moved the ball. Obviously, Alan Crabb had a great game, but I thought the ball was moving. I thought we're finding the open guy, and we're playing pretty efficiently and pretty efficient basketball, frankly. You know, we trying to play guys, find out if we have depth, find out who can do what, trying to give guys opportunities to see what they can do. Not all working right now. As the game kind of unfolded, Brandon's shoulder started to stiffen up a little bit, got pretty sore. The kid's got a lot of courage. I mean, he got banged pretty good the other night. We thought perhaps it was dislocated. Turned out not to be, but it was a pretty good bone bruise, and it just kind of wore out on him. So, again, we were back to not having Brandon the latter part of the game, and, of course, we don't have Kreklow, so we were back to some interesting combinations of players. But concern, 19 offensive rebounds. We've just somehow, some way got to shore that up. We've got to get people involved. We will continue to work on our block-offs. We'll continue to work on reacting to the ball. We've got some big guys that just stand and do not react off the floor and go get the ball. We've got to get that solved. I thought David Kravish worked pretty hard out there to try to rebound, but he was pretty much by himself. And, you know, again, they had some kids that were pretty athletic, and, you know, they were down 20, so they were not really worried about anything as far as sending people to the glass. That's a concern. 18 turnovers is obviously too many, but we have some press breaker things that we would do differently, and we will do differently down the road. Really haven't spent a whole lot of time versus pressure. Some of our passes were not very intelligent as far as things that we did, but I think we'll get better at that as we get some more experience. But so, I mean, again, it's, you know, we know we have a long ways to go. We know we have to get better. A lot of the things are intangible, such as defensive rebounding on the glass, which allows us to get out on the break, which I think we can do pretty well. Getting our depth situation solved so that we've got, in a tough game, if we've got 7, 8, 9 guys that we can play and feel like we can win with, that's what we'll do. It's not an equal opportunity deal. You got to go in and produce. So, you know, we've got 48 hours. We'll play again. I don't know that 3 games in this first week is ideal for us, given where we are injury-wise and so forth. But at least we got the first one out of the way. We got Pepperdine Tuesday. We're hoping that Ricky might be able to make a cameo appearance on Tuesday, if not Friday in Denver. So, but he's practiced with us, has no ill effects, feels pretty good. So we're hoping to get him back out here pretty quickly.
Mike, what did you think of Tyrone Wallace this first time?
Tyrone was probably a little nervous, but I thought as time went on, he did a good job. You know, Tyrone's a smart player. I like that about him. He's the things that we've talked about, for example, don't jump in the air to make a pass. He's kind of figured out, you know, made a nice drop off without charging, finished at the basket a couple times. He's got long arms. I think we're really encouraged with Ty. Probably a little bit better with the ball in his hands, but we've got Brandon and Justin out there, so we're going to have to figure that out, where that goes. But you know, he's a little tentative, I think. You know, not really sure what to do all the time and how things are going to work. But you know, 23 minutes was a pretty good stretch for him.
He said tentative. He certainly doesn't force stuff too much like some freshmen.
He didn't. You know, we had discussion about the shot he took the other night late, where maybe that wasn't the time to, you know, launch a 3-1 pass. And, you know, that's hard for a kid to understand when you're the best player on your team. You're the guy that's supposed to shoot it, and time and circumstance dictates a little different thought process. And I think he got that. So I think he's a fast learner, and I like that.
Will Ricky become potentially your third scoring option, or?
I don't know. We haven't ever seen Ricky in a game. Ricky has some different skills. He's tough. He plays really hard. So, you know, there were times when Allen's out, when you look and with, you know, say Brandon, Justin, and Ty on the perimeter, that you're not sure who's going to shoot it. We need to establish an inside game, which I didn't think we did a very good job of. Kravish gets 2 shots. I think he's got to get more touches than that. 27 minutes. I thought Richard had some stuff inside he should have finished and didn't. There's a lot of things that we can work on.
Do you like to see Allen and Justin getting the majority of your points, and can that be a consistent combo for you this season?
Well, I think they're 2 proven players. I don't know that we could expect Allen to have that kind of half all that often, but he's certainly capable of it. If the guys are looking for him and they're not defending him, he's a guy that can put numbers up. He did a pretty good job at driving to the basket, I thought. I'd still like to see him maybe stop and shoot the pull-up a little bit more. But, you know, those guys are proven players, and if they take those 2 guys out, however they might try to do that, we've obviously got to find ways to get other people involved.
Mike, did you see some improvement on defense tonight?
Yeah, I thought we changed the way we handle ball screens a little bit. I still think there's a little bit of a mental lapse on what we're trying to do. It's a little bit different than anything we've done before, and sometimes the old habits start to creep up. But you know, we've got to make some decisions. I think we've got to stay aggressive on ball screens, and I thought we did a pretty good job there. Generally, at point of attack, we were decent. Not all the time. Some of it was guys off the bench that didn't do a great job at point of attack. But then what happens is we've got some guys that want to try to block shots, and they leave their guy open, and we don't get a V back from the guards to block their guy off, and that's where a lot of these offensive rebounds are coming from. So that's, you know, better job we do at point of attack, better job we don't have to help, and we don't have to get the guards on a big guy inside. So got some work to do there.
I guess Justin a calming influence on the team. Seems like he's pretty in control of things out there.
Well, he knows what we're trying to do. I mean, I think he was very comfortable out there playing the 2 with Brandon, and that helps. And then he played, obviously, we moved him over, and he played some 1 with Ty out there. He's better with the ball in his hands, or he likes the ball in his hands. He's a little bit of a reluctant shooter in that he just doesn't really always want to just catch and shoot. He had a couple nice mid-range shots that we've encouraged him. Didn't go down, but they're shots we think he should take. But, you know, pretty economical effort, you know, 22 points on 11 shots with, you know, making all his free throws.
Played 11 players tonight, but how deep do you believe this team is going into the season?
Well, I'm not. I mean, this is not, you know, this is not Disneyland. I mean, I'm not going to play guys just to play them. I'm trying to figure out who can help and how. Obviously, getting some guys on the floor, getting them used to playing with other players, we can get a good look at what they can or can't do in a game situation, which is a different level of intensity and it's a different pace. I don't care who you're playing. And, you know, can a guy rebound? Can a guy defend somebody? Can a guy rebound the ball for us? If a guy can go in and help us, then he can play. If not, then we're not going to go that way ultimately.
Is Barron's just kind of in a hurry all the time right now?
You know, Christian hasn't played very much, and we're kind of hoping. I mean, one of the things that hurt us, obviously, with free throws, we had situations where we made good plays, got to the line, missed, I think, 3 or 4 front ends. That's 6 or 8 points that you give up, and that's empty possessions. That hurts you. I mean, we were 65%, but a lot of them were front ends, which are worth more than that. So that was a little discouraging. The other night we shot them extremely well. Hopefully Christian or Bach, one of those two, has got to help us. or we could play Jeff Powers or Khalil in there.
Allen seems a lot more relaxed this season than the last two, obviously. But has he stepped in that leadership role with Jorge gone?
No. Allen's quiet. You know, he's more comfortable. He's stronger. He feels better about his game. He's still not a guy that talks very much. Jorge didn't talk, but Jorge, you knew Jorge when he was mad at you. He's liable to come get you as well as the other team. So that's something that we have to try to establish is the leadership and who talks and all that kind of stuff.